News through Bruce's son Brandon. His latest action film, Rapid Fire, comes out in August.
Oscar does a disappearing act in a moment, but first here's what's upcoming on Inside Edition.
They couldn't believe that he died a natural death. He had to have been murdered.
He was the greatest martial artist of all time, but mystery has always surrounded Bruce Lee's sudden death. Now, for the first time, his family breaks their silence.
His mastery of the martial arts made him a Hollywood legend, but rumors of foul play and Bruce Lee's sudden death still haunt his family.
He was fine to me. Then 2 months later, boom, it was a shock.
Today, the rise and fall of the incredible Bruce Lee.
1, 2, 1. Zoom in, camera 1.
Great. When action movie star Bruce Lee died in his prime, there were whispers of foul play, but his family said very little. Now, for the first time, the Lee family opens up. Scott Rappaport with our story.
He was so intense, whatever he did.
He created a genre.
The image of Bruce Lee, poised and ready for action, is the stuff of Hollywood legend. Known as the fastest fist in the East, Lee turned martial arts from a cult sport into an international phenomenon. But at age 32, at the pinnacle of his success, he suddenly died. Along with Marilyn Monroe, his death has gone down in history as one of the great Hollywood mysteries.
He was fine to me. So then 2 months later, boom, it was a shock.
Since Lee's death in the early 70s, his family has shunned the public eye. But now they have opened up to Inside Edition, speaking intimately about the life and death of the legendary Lee, and they've allowed us to show never-before televised photos from the family scrapbook.
Whatever he did was very, very, he would dedicate his whole self to it.
Bruce Lee had big dreams all his life. Born in America and raised in Hong Kong, Lee got exposed to show business at an early age through his father, a well-known stage performer. Lee became a child star in Hong Kong, but as a teenager, his interest in martial arts led to trouble with local street gangs. His family sent him off to America to straighten him out. He soon found his way to Hollywood, where he worked as a martial arts trainer to the stars and made a strong impression on everyone he met.
We'd shake hands and say hello, and then suddenly he would step back 2 or 3 steps, and immediately he would kick out, and he would graze your nose. And it was an amazing sort of way to meet someone. You remembered.
Lee made enough of an impression to win himself small parts like Kato in the Green Hornet TV series, but he soon found out that all his offers were more or less the same.
He was approached to portray the regular, typical American stereotype Chinese look, with a pigtail and the chop chop, And Bruce said, no way. You want somebody to go chop chop, you go get somebody else.
For anybody who has read any of my father's works or read any books about my father, you got to realize what incredible odds he surmounted, in his lifetime.
Lee held out for the right vehicle to make him a star. It finally came. The title was Enter the Dragon, the first big-budget Hollywood martial arts movie.
He came along with the right skills and offering kind of an international hero at a time that the market was very open to it.
If he had been 6'2" and 190 pounds, thrashing everybody around him, I don't think it would have been as appealing as the little guy, the underdog, Chinese, 5'7", 145 pounds, whipping everybody around him. It gave everybody a feeling of what Rocky became many years later.
In July of 1973, right before the release of Enter the Dragon, Lee was in Hong Kong enjoying the pleasures of his newfound wealth and fame. Little did he know it was all about to come crashing down.
The phone rang, and I picked up the phone, and it was a friend of mine. And he said, Robert, have you watched the news? I said, no. He said, your brother died.
Swelling of the brain was the cause of death. Some say it was congenital. Some say it was brought on by a blow to the head. Doctors point to Lee's pain medication. But in Hong Kong, there was speculation of foul play. Rumors about the Chinese mafia rubbing him out for revealing sacred ancient secrets to the West were rampant.
They worshipped him. They couldn't believe that he died a natural death. So stories of his being murdered and the invisible hand killing him, and rival producers who he had turned down and refused to work for them. There were all kinds of stories.
But those closest to Lee were aware of an impending health problem that cast serious doubt on the mysterious murder plots.
At that point, he looked, you know, of course, a lot skinnier, but because I figured, you know, he was working too hard.
He said, I've been having some problems. I've been fainting. I said, really? What? So I said, well, I mean, you know, is it serious? He said, there may not be a Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee never saw how much of a superstar he was to become. Enter the Dragon became an international smash. Bruce Lee's surviving family is also a big part of his legacy. His son Brandon was only 8 when his father died. Now in his late 20s, Brandon Lee is about to forge his own path as an action star for the 90s.
My father is certainly a big influence. I realized that my father would want what he had accomplished with his life to be of a benefit to me. It's certainly not any kind of flattery to just imitate someone, you know, and I would never want to do that, and I don't think my father would have wanted anybody to do that, much less me, you know. I mean, the man was a very original, creative man.
Well, Bruce Lee continued